industrial and municipal waste as well. And then we also looked at other foods fuel sources or waste sources, agricultural and forestry there, existing biofuels, livestock manures, those kind of things, and more within a 250 kilometre radius of the city. So in this case, our definition of local energy is really, you know, within the Sydney sort of basin. And we also look particularly at our own waste of the City of Sydney. And this is just a slide, it's not our own waste, actual waste from the City of Sydney. And the things were quite interesting. If we looked at waste traditionally, and you know, you've got a waste problem, you know, where we have about 66% diversion from landfill, so not bad, or 68%, it's not bad from an Australian perspective, but still not where we really want it to be in the future. And so if you looked at it traditionally, you know, by weight, which is what most people do, construction and demolition there a third, 20% resi, 52% commercial and industrial. And this is the kind of strategy that we looked at, and this is a really sort of a whole strategy in one slide. Business as usual on the left-hand side, and we use these waterfall charts in just about everything we do. So you'll see a few of these again later on. But you can see 2010 on the left, business as usual to 2030. Curbside recycling does a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of diversion from landfill. You can see there at 27, probably push up to 30-odd%. A suite of other actions that are not really, they're about really either extracting the high valuable parts of the waste stream or eliminating contamination. So you can see there garden organics, e-waste, household hazardous waste, white goods, clean-up recycling, all those sort of actions. But then the rest of the heavy lifting really needs to be done at the other end of the waste management cycle, which is the advanced waste treatment facility. And with hopefully less than 10% going to landfill. And I think we can even do better than that now. This is this slide that probably I could update. When we look at it the other way then, if we look at it from a greenhouse perspective, we see that this time commercial and industrial play an even bigger role at almost sort of 2/3, 60%. And residential is much bigger as well, and that's because of the calorific values and the organic content of those wastes. Commercial and demolition, construction and demolition is really small. So it's the way you look at these things really that determines what outcome you get. So this is a bit of a technical slide, but essentially what it's saying is that if you put municipal waste and commercial and industrial together, 2010 on the left-hand side, the next one is 2030, what it would be with no diversion. And then you can see there recycling brings it down, household recycling brings it down even further. It's still a carbon issue with those sort of traditional technologies. And then as you implement an AWT kind of strategy, you can see that you actually turn waste from a problem into a carbon benefit. And look, I'm sure some of you in the room are very well aware of those issues. The other thing that we're doing, and the recent work we've done, is that we then went into more detail and we had a look at the kind of waste conversion technologies we'd like to look at. At the moment, our waste goes to, we have curbside recycling, and that goes to a recycling plant and is reused. We then have the rest, which is a red bin, and that goes to an advanced waste treatment facility, which is predominantly composting. So the organic fraction of that waste gets composted, but it really only produces a low-grade compost that can be used on, say, things like mine site rehabilitation, not suitable for sort of human agriculture sort of purposes. And so as a council, you know, yeah, okay, it diverts it from landfill, but it's not really, the end game for us. We think there's a much better solution. So we looked at the other kind of technologies of, we did have a look at incineration, we did have a look at thermal technologies, so gasification and pyrolysis. Incineration is just not an option for Sydney. Many residents spent a long time, decades, fighting the existing incinerator that was there, and it's gone now, and good luck if you ever want to put one back in. So not an option. And also when we did a life cycle assessment on the emissions associated with that compared to, say, gasification, and also the greenhouse profile, and we did a lot of analysis, multi-criteria analysis, life cycle analysis, we found that gasification was by far a better technology for us as well. And in gasification, we then looked at high temperature, low temperature, plasma gasification, so a whole range of gasification technologies. But the numbers that we're looking to publish soon suggest that the cost effectiveness of doing that is actually very good. So, and two reasons for that is that landfill, we have a landfill levy. It's a very expensive landfill levy. It goes up $10 a year and plus CPI every single year. And so we're paying the order of 230 to plus the dollars a tonne to get rid of our waste. That provides a very big buffer or an income, I suppose, for a business case around turning that waste into gas instead of putting it into landfill. So that's one reason. The other reason is that the gas price in Sydney is also increasing because of coal seam methane export port being built in Queensland, which means a lot of the local natural gas is actually going to start to be exported, and the cheap prices that we used to have in Australia are now going to rise quite sharply to meet more international market kind of prices. So they're the two major reasons, and so I think this is going to be a huge area for development in Sydney going forward. The other thing is water master planning. How much time have I got left? So I just want to try and manage.
You could go on to
Oh, okay. We use the same data set again, the floor space census, and we also then work with our water utility to determine where's the water being used across the city. And we built a bit of a model again of water consumption across the city. A little bit of detail on this slide, but the bar chart on the left-hand side there really shows you what we estimated 2030 water consumption to be by different sectors. And the biggest one there is multi-unit residential being the highest water user, and then secondly office and hotels. Now, that was very useful information. It means we need to focus on those for our water efficiency programs. But the one on the right also showed that out of that water consumption, about, what was it, 54%, I think it was, 55%, actually doesn't need to have potable water. It can be actually other water sources. So water that's used for, say, toilets, for cooling towers, for laundry, for other purposes that you don't need a drinkable quality water for. And so this said to us, well, look, there's a huge percentage of water there. There's a potential for a recycled water network to be put into the city. This also is a water security issue because while our dams are full at the moment, and they have been for the last few years because we've had lots of rain, the last 10 years before that was a very, very big drought in Sydney, and our dams got down towards 10% of being full. And that has really changed the consciousness of the people and the businesses within the city of Sydney. A lot of water efficiency work has been done, and we found that the water consumption hasn't actually rebounded up to where it was previously. We've actually, because of all that behaviour change and that consciousness, we're actually seeing that water consumption is still staying low, even though the dams are now full. And so that's really good. But then the other side of that is that we are going to go through another drought at some time, and I don't want to be pushed into a corner, or I don't want the government to be pushed into a corner around what's the solution at that time. So I'd rather plan, and we can do this for the city now, and once we get a master plan done, that allows us to really do it at lowest cost, because when you're retrofitting a building in the city, to put in dual piping for recycled water is a very cheap thing to do as part of a major refurbishment. But if you were going to just put in dual piping just to do that, it's a very expensive option. So you need to be planning this and getting this in the minds of the people, like in the Better Buildings Partnership. So that's what we use that mechanism for, is saying, okay, well, we're going to be putting this network in, so when you're refurbishing your buildings in your 5-year asset cycle, make sure you include dual piping into those buildings. And so this, we could then map out what's the recycled water demand, and therefore where's the optimal location for a recycled water network. And I think Singapore's done a fantastic job with its water, and that's one of the reasons I came here previously, was to have a look at the water management cycle here. So really hats off to you. I think you've done a great job. Automated waste. This is probably not so much an environmental outcome, but more a social outcome, more an amenity outcome for the city. We've done the analysis, and for us, it's about there's no real carbon benefit in doing this compared to the existing trucks and that we use, but it does have an amenity benefit. And if we are digging up the streets to put in insulated hot water pipes for a thermal network or recycled water pipes, then here's an opportunity to include another piece of infrastructure, therefore minimising the impact on the city. And this is what I'm hopefully going to go and visit down at the marina this afternoon. Is I know that you've got an integrated utilities trench down there, and I really look forward to sort of seeing how that was done down there. So when you